Most people think building a physical product is easy. It's just about design or about clever engineering. But sometimes the problem is way big, so messy and so entangled into reality that it takes years before the answer even starts to take shape. Today's episode is about one of those problems. Our guest today spent over 8 years trying to build something that is on paper sounds very simple. A portable dental clinic. Not a toy version, not a demo, not just a miniature, but a full-fledged real clinic. He went through 3 to 4 design studios, dozens of freelancers and countless iterations and still couldn't get it right. A point where it could actually be manufactured. When he walked into analogy, he didn't bring us a product brief. He bought us a mission, a very precise mission. Italian design, German engineering, and Indian ingenuity, wrapped into something that could travel anywhere a patient needed help. And this is a story of how that idea finally became real. And what every founder can learn from this chaos, the mistakes, the breakthroughs, and the engineering nobody sees. Let's get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Malulan. I have Vivek next to me. Vivek is the founder of Mobident, a truly pioneering dental healthcare venture that's out there to solve access problem in India. Uh, Vivek has been working on an idea that a dentist should not need a clinic to treat patients. Rather, a clinic should travel to patient's place to solve his issues. Okay, this led him to work for the last 8 years. He has been on this journey, a journey of dead ends, prototypes, redesigns, frustrations with multiple teams, not to mention countless sleepless nights. And all this has led to this thing. Vivek has now built a fantastic state of the art product that's going to be out into the market very soon. And this product, he has built it along with his team. This is a fully functional unit, a mobile dental unit. When I say mobile dental unit, it can be taken across to patients' places and get the treatment done. And this will be coming out very soon, and we are very privileged to say that at Analogy we were part of this, developing it with Vivek and his team. And for the show, we welcome Vivek. Thank you very much, Vivek, for joining us.
Thank you, Maluran. Thank you for inviting me. It's a privilege to be here.
So, Vivek, let me ask this. You spent almost 8 years working on this. You worked with at least 3 to 4 design studios, I would say dozens of freelancers, countless iterations. What was that one thing which was still unresolved when you actually came to Analogy?
So we've been working actually for more than 10 years on this particular idea. So in India, at least my experience has been, we as a community seldom attempt to do something which is disruptive, radically innovative. We are happy to work on ideas already innovated globally, and we'll look at finding inexpensive ways of doing it. So when we were attempting to do something like this, it was for the first time in India, somebody is attempting to build a portable dental clinic. There are only 5 countries in the world which makes portable dental clinic. It is US, China, Switzerland, Japan and Germany. So when you're attempting to do something which is so radically different, one faces a lot of challenges. So it's taken us 10 years to crack those challenges. And to specifically answer your question, we were very clear that we were wanting to build something only in India which is world class, in terms of engineering, in terms of design. And that's not easily available in India. You would find designers in terms of creative, advertising, other such areas, but product design, we have a long way to go as a country. And that's why it's taken me so long.
For someone who's just listening, how would you define what a portable dental unit is all about?
So to start your career, you require a large clinic. The investment is close to about 18 to 20 lakhs. Now, if you want to make dental care affordable and accessible, one of the fundamental things required is to eliminate the dependency of very high investment on a clinic. We had defined the problem as how do you make dental care affordable and accessible to a lot of people. So that is where the engineering work went. How do we dematerialize the size of the clinic into a suitcase? That's the journey we had to make. So there are three types of clinics. There is a fixed clinic. There is a mobile clinic, which is a clinic in a large van or a bus. And what we have designed is a portable clinic, which is it can be taken anytime, anywhere, in a two-wheeler, in an auto, or in a car.
Right.
So the difference is portability and not mobility. Mobility is going in a bus. Portability is carrying it through any regular vehicle that's available.
Right. So now you're saying portability, mobility. You gave a very good example. I've been to dentist clinics and I've seen so many equipments lying there. Can you safely say that product that is going to come out is a fully functional product where it was a non-negotiable for you that you are not going to give something half-baked? What I mean is that a patient, when he goes to a dental clinic, will get access to all the equipments. So this equipment that you're talking about is something that will bring everything to his house. Was that a non-negotiable for you when you actually thought about this?
So I think let me give you a bit of context, because then you'll be able to understand where we're coming from. India is a country where 95% of the people do not have access to dental care, nor can they afford it. That's from the demand side. From the supply side, we have more than 300 dental colleges and 30,000 dentists graduating every year. So we have a situation where the cost of investment being so high, we find 50% of dental students dropping out from dentistry as a career. So we have a paradoxical situation where demand is high, supply is equally high, but these two things don't seem to connect.
Okay.
So in India, what happens is people visit a dentist once in 3 years, once in 5 years, only when they have a dental problem. The trigger point is pain. Globally, the norm is you should visit a dentist twice a year as a child, and an adult maybe once a year. But we seem to go to a dentist only when we have a problem. And
True.
We have a situation in India where more than 80% of the population have an oral hygiene and a dental problem. So we are addressing dental care at population scale. So when we are talking about addressing dental care at population scale, it is necessary to have a machine which can do everything a dental clinic can do. So that's a non-negotiable.
Sure.
So this is not a simple machine which just does a better brushing and cleaning. It's a machine which can do surgery, which can do dental replacement. We've done surgeries for replacing the complete dental structure of a 75-year-old person. So it's one of its kind machine in the world which can deliver 98% of all treatment done in a clinic.
My follow-up question to you is that if this product does not come into existence, who are those people who would be left out?
So what I mentioned to you is in India. So let me tell you, in India, in the developing countries, which includes Asia, Africa, South America, 90 to 95% of the population do not have access nor can afford dental care. So if we don't have a machine, potentially 95% of the population is excluded from access to dental care. Okay. So what we are attempting to do is how do you make dental care affordable and accessible at as low as $5, as low as 350 to 400 rupees, which would be the cost of visiting any doctor for cold or fever. So what we're attempting to do is extremely ambitious. It is bold, but we have tried and worked on this for the last 10 years. We've experimented. We have treated more than 175,000 people in 5 cities in India and 2 countries, India and Kenya. So we're absolutely confident that we are ready to take it at a global scale.
So you keep saying that access has always been a problem, especially in Asia. That's what I'm hearing from you. So when did this thing of geography came into your mind, that deciding the quality of dental, this one, medicine is not helping the people?
Okay, so I need to give you a small story and a background.
Sure.
It so happens that sometimes ideas get created or generated in absolutely unexpected places. I was sitting with a bunch of my friends who are doctors, and I was asking them very casually over a drink and dinner, why is healthcare so expensive in India? Why is there a feeling of being exploited? I belong to a generation where people took up medicine as a career with the mindset of serving the community. But unfortunately, what is happening today is we seem to get the feeling that only the privileged who can afford good healthcare have access to healthcare. So when I asked them, why is healthcare so expensive, I realized that most hospitals are owned by real estate agents, real estate people or business people, seldom by doctors. So there is a theory which I have come up with, which can be controversial, but the theory is hospitals seem to generate the highest revenue per square feet. The lowest would be residential, commercial, hotels, and last is hospitals. So if you start billing on revenue per square feet, healthcare is expensive. So then my theory was, what happens if real estate is removed from the equation? The cost of healthcare will drop by at least 60%.
Okay.
This was my theory. It had to be proved and validated. So my journey has been to prove these hypotheses. The second, the cost of investment on the equipment in most hospitals is very high. So I said, can I reduce the cost of equipment? So the two theories I was wanting to validate is, can it be not dependent on real estate, and can we reduce the cost of the machine? Now, of course, it's very daring to make something like that. It is a crazy idea, but that was the journey I attempted to do. So portability became almost necessary if you say, I don't want real estate. Now, the second part of the equation is, how do you design a machine which can work? And that is the journey which has taken me 8 to 10 years. So we had built a prototype, almost 8 years back, and after we built it, we had to prove it works. So my first step was, can we even build an engineered product from India on dental care? We tested it, it worked very well. Post-COVID, what I did is I was wanting to make this light, because many lady doctors came back to us saying, your machine is heavy. The machine that we built was 24 kilograms. The new machine which is out to be launched is less than 15 kilograms, which can be taken in, anybody can handle it. Any, both male and female doctors can handle it. So it is an engineering work that we had to work at bringing down the cost from 24 kgs to 15 kilograms.
So
Once we have done that, our entire idea was, how do you democratize this and take it at population scale? So what we're attempting to do right now is, what we've built, tried and tested, we will give it to doctors, supply them with a machine, supply them with technology, supply them with consumers and marketing support. and then address it at population scale.
So I remember, Vivek, when you walked into our office, me and Adil were sitting and talking to you. You did not walk in with a product brief. You walked in with a mission. The mission was Italian design, German engineering, and Indian ingenuity. How deeply that was engraved in your mind that you need to deliver a product. Your product is not a feature based one, it's more of a it's a mission, it's for a cause that you are doing, but still you wanted the best that Indians should have. So what was that all about? The three things that I spoke about: Italian design, German engineering, and Indian ingenuity.
So when I built the first machine, I built based on my understanding. The product worked very well. But when we're democratizing it and giving it to the end user, who's the doctor, who would be then taking it to patient's house, it is very important to get every stakeholder to believe that the product delivers. And I think what's important is to have trust. Trust is built through a lot of intangibles. It's built on product performance, it's built on design aesthetics, it's built on technology, it's built on interaction between the doctor, the equipment, and the patient. Because everything in the equation has changed. When you go to a clinic, it's already set up. You know it's a clinic. But when a clinic comes to your house, nothing is set up. The time available for a doctor to unfold his portable unit should be less than 5 minutes. If it takes more than 5 minutes to set up your clinic, it will lead to dissatisfaction, even lack of trust. So we had to get down to that kind of nuanced understanding of consumer behavior and integrate it with product flow, the flow of setting up the place. So when I mentioned to you that it's very important to build trust, the first thing that needs to be done is the product should be world class. So there was no negotiation on that. So what we said, who is the best in the world if you ask on engineering? It's the Germans.
True.
Right? So I said, let's have German engineering. Who is the best in aesthetics? It's the Italians. So I said, okay, we'll have the Italian design. And who are the most creative people in the world? Indians. So when you put these three parameters, you're very clear on what the output is. And everybody working on the product or the engineering or the design knows the direction which they want to head towards. So those are again, etched in stone, and they were non-negotiable. So when I came to your office, I had completed the engineering part.
Right.
I had completed the testing part. But what I was not happy was the design aesthetic part.
Yeah.
Because I'm not looking at selling this product only for India. I'm saying this has to be even sold in developed countries like Europe, US, or any of the Japan. Because these are guys who are making it.
True.
So it was more a mindset that I had to prove, where I had defined right in the beginning, engineering will be in India, manufacturing will be in India, design will be in India, and it will be authentically Indian in terms of values, global in terms of appeal. So I think what's happening today is in India, we are exposed to world-class products and we are not compromising. I mean, I came from a generation where we were looking at the cheapest product or cheaper product, cheaper alternatives. I think Indians are not looking at cheaper anymore. They're saying they want world-class but affordable. So that is where it becomes very hard to intersect world-class product with affordability. Then you can make world-class product which is expensive, or you can make ordinary products which are cheap. But to get both of them together is a very tough journey.
True.
Yeah. So when I approached you guys, I was very clear that I wanted somebody who has international aesthetic sense, somebody who has built products which has been adopted at a global scale. And I've tried more than 6 design agencies in Bangalore. All of them, see, so in India we don't know how to say no. If we can't do it, we'll say, nobody says I can't do it. They say we'll try, and midway through the project, give up. So having been through the journey, I was very clear to ask your team right in the beginning, if it's a yes, let's go ahead. If it's no, I'm completely okay. But don't say yes and not deliver.
True.
So
I
that was
remember that.
non-negotiable. And you know that we've had during the journey, we've had a little bit of disagreements.
Absolutely.
It's because, I was not willing to compromise. And I must say that your team, did deliver.
Fantastic.
It was hard, but it's important because, see, end of the day, it's a work of art, it's a work of passion, and it has an objective which is to impact lives. Now, you stumble in the early stages, you will carry the regret right through your life. So you rather regret delay of launch
Right.
than than regret the pain of getting out in the market, which you're not proud about.
It's actually so nice to hear from you that we delivered to your expectations.
Yeah.
So Vivek, what did you underestimate the most? As I said, like, was it the cost? Was it the engineering? Was it the timelines, or the overall complexity of the project?
Okay, so to answer your question, let me give you a context. It's important for you to understand the context, because then you'll understand my journey. So I'll give you a brief about my background. I have spent 15 years in the corporate world, essentially building very large and successful brands. When I switched after 15 years, I was wanting to experience the journey of building companies as an entrepreneur. So Mobident idea is actually my 5th venture. So my whole, inspiration was, having built brands, having built companies, I was attempting to build something which can redefine an industry. Now that's very bold, big, and almost crazy. But for me, it is like, if you don't attempt to do it, there's no excitement for me in terms of challenges. So when you're attempting something big and bold, you don't look at constraints, you look at possibilities. So the way I approach this is, look at a problem which is so large, which has impact, and then find solutions, which I had defined at that point of time as 10 times the benefit at 1/10 the cost. So I think I had very clearly defined in my head what I wanted. The challenge for me was not, defining what I wanted. The challenge was making people believe it can be done. So my struggle has been in experiencing resistance, cynicism, disbelief. So I had to then break it up into smaller parts and take it step by step, because only when people see things working will they attempt to take the next big step. So it took time for people. Like the first time I said, let's do a portable dental clinic, people said it can't be done. It took us 1.5 years to build it. After we built it, the doctors told me it can't be used. Imagine, the doctors themselves, because their logic was, we are not salespeople, we can't go home. So I hired 2 doctors, we went up to 42 doctors, 2 countries, and treated more than 175,000 people. So we had to prove it to ourselves. So today, after whatever I'm talking about, 8 to 10 years, there is a whole bunch of the ecosystem, the doctors to the manufacturers to everybody, who believe that this idea can become a reality at population scale. The other thing which also the challenge I faced is, when I shared this to a larger audience, there was so much of skepticism. And sometimes I think that any good idea has resistance from people within the industry itself. So it is important for me to achieve trust and credibility. So besides treating this large number of people that we talked about, we took part in every global and international competition. We won the award from Royal Academy of Engineering, London. We got the Bold Idea Award from Singularity University, Silicon Valley.
Okay.
We won the Frost and Sullivan Award for Dental Company of the Year. Now, we also got featured, something which I'm very proud of. We got featured in the innovative section of Knowledge at Wharton. So it was a case study. I've not come across too many Indian companies featured in Knowledge at Wharton magazine under the category of innovation. Now, all this were things that reinforced my belief that it can become a reality. So I think the journey is taking steps, and as you take the step, I have this theory which says, seeing is believing, but walking the path without being able to see the end result is faith. So I have a feeling that you start walking in the direction that you want to, you will have the doors open to you at the right moment. But you will have to walk that lonely journey yourself. So as I was attempting that journey, more and more people began to believe, and then that became a reality.
So Vivek, let's talk about architecture and engineering now. So I remember when we showed the designs to you, it was all single units, and then you actually selected two units, two designs, and asked us to marry it together and make it as a single unit. When did that actually hit you? Why did you? Were you already thinking in all these years that you wanted to make it as a 2-unit module, or why did that come to you?
Oh no! So I had done the mobility part of it. So when we start, see, most of these ideas, when you think of it, I believe in this whole thing called cross-pollination of ideas, which emerged during discussions, right? So my whole direction when I approached you was, how do I make it aesthetically good on a 15 kg machine? But actually, deep down in my head, I wanted a machine which can be carried by a dentist like a laptop. Okay, now, when I saw your design, something resonated with me saying, look, the reality is the unit which has the instruments for performing whatever dental treatment can be carried by a dentist on his or her shoulder, which is less than 1.5 kilograms. The other is basically the compressor unit and the tank. That can be taken like a suitcase. So when I saw two ideas, it sort of occurred to me saying, you know what, the best part is to decouple. Why would you couple it together? Can you decouple it? And that was the whole idea of dematerializing product design. It's pushing the envelope of doing something which is difficult and impossible. Also keeping in mind that when you break up any product into smaller modules, it's easier to execute at scale. But if it's one integrated unit, sometimes it becomes difficult to manufacture at scale. Transportation, logistics, all those things get affected.
So you felt having two modules will be much easier for dentists to carry.
So it is like this. So let me give you a context again here. See, now the critical part here is, so I'll get a little technical here, okay? The reality is, in the dental instrument, you require something called 2-bar pressure to make the handheld units work. A 2-bar pressure can be delivered by a 1 HP compressor. That's all. That's all the pressure required. So you create about 8-bar pressure for 2-bar for your scaling, 5-bar for your suction. Is technically the way it's supposed to be done. Now the job of a motor with a tank is only to compress the air at high pressure and keep it in the tank. That doesn't need to be carried. But without the motor and the tank, the machine does not work. But actually the thing used by the doctor is that small unit which has handpieces.
Okay.
So when I looked at it this way, so I looked at it from multiple layers, okay? A dental student may not be able to afford the machine, but is certainly able to buy the small unit. So my whole idea is, if you decouple it, the doctor can own his or her unit, while the compressor can be rented or shared with multiple doctors. So that was the whole idea of decoupling also. So there are a lot of parts, but I think it's enough to understand here that when you decouple and integrate, which can be integrated at the customer place, it's easy for mobility or portability.
Right. So, what did you learn from the internal architecture, Vivek, like the water path, air lines, or tool ports?
See, when the first unit I built it with a lot of those what we call as valves, regulators, and controllers, which we source from India. But when you're working at redesigning, where you're reducing the weight by almost 40-50%, it is very important to get the engineering part of the equation right. See, the dental instruments that are being used work at very high air pressure, and if not handled properly, it can lead to accidents. It can lead to, the instrument cutting somebody's gum or whatever to that. So it is important to have various parts which is able to manage the pneumatic pressure consistently. What we call is air pressure, pneumatic pressure.
Correct.
So my whole idea was, if you have to regulate and control the air pressure consistently, you need to work with world-class suppliers. So I had approached Festo. Festo is a German company, which makes valves, regulators, and controllers for Merck, Audi, and BMW. Okay, I approached them, and persuaded them to partner with me to build what we have designed in their factory. And I was lucky that the CEO and MD of the company agreed to help me. So the entire unit is now built for us at the Festo factory at Hosur, using our design and their products. And this has been a significant, and they use a lot of their testing equipments to make it work. And this is the reason why we believe that the product is world class. Yeah.
Vivek. So, what was your first reaction to the new design language? The volumes, or the highlight layer, or the telescopic handle? How did you feel?
Oh no, so for me the way I looked at design was a little bit holistic. I looked at design at multiple levels. I looked at design from the point of view that one is product design, which in terms of aesthetics. I looked at functional design in terms of how it can be used. I looked at design from the point of view of the experience the doctor has when he unboxes the product. And I looked at design from the point of view of how the customer feels when the unit is actually brought into the house. So it is not design of just the product, it's design of the entire experience. So when I briefed your company, Analogy, my understanding, my brief was as it was a complete workflow from purchase to delivery to completing and leaving. So I looked at from design aesthetics from the entire product experience flow. So product design in terms of aesthetics is only one part of the equation, but packaging, transportation, unboxing,
Okay.
And even entry and exit from a person's house, all are important part of design experience, because those are intangibles which impact trust. And that's according to me, that's critical, because you're changing people's reference point. Not many people have seen what it is to have a dental care delivered at home. They know what it is to be delivered at a clinic. Delivery at home is a completely different experience.
Excellent. So it went through many iterations. Was there a moment that you felt that wow factor coming in after seeing the design? And if it was, when?
No, certainly not. When we started off, it was nowhere close to being wow. and this is typically an iterative process. So what happens is, and that is where, there's always a conflict between designers and the client. Um, the client is not supposed to be aesthetically intelligent. Typically, the relationship is the client is logical and business oriented, agency is aesthetic and understand the nuance of it. So any such relationship will have conflicts, but in that conflict is always a cross pollination of ideas, right? I mean, that's the way I feel. So if there are conflicts, it's done because the vision is very clear, the brief is very clear, there's no ambiguity. So you have the conflicts and discussion based on sticking to the brief. It is not conflict from a personal point of view, it is conflict from questioning, is it sticking to the brief? Yeah, it's a new way of approach. So obviously there will be challenges, but anybody who's attempting to do the next product, it'll be easy. But a first product is always going to be a challenge.
So how did your understanding of style evolve into idea plus manufacturability? How did your understanding of style evolve into idea plus manufacturability? Because some of the best designs in the world, it cannot be manufactured that easily. So did you think on those lines?
See, now to answer your question about style, when you're bringing transformation at such a massive scale, I'm attempting to make doctors use a machine which he or she has never done. You're attempting to change behavior of the doctors. You're getting consumers to experience a service which he or she has never experienced before. Now, when you're bringing such transformational change, it's important to get the touch and feel, because Indians are emotional people. They make judgment largely based on emotions, not on logic. And design aesthetics is an important part of emotion, which I call as trust, appeal. Now, you will look at something and feel connected. If you don't feel connected, you're not going to attempt to get a doctor to treat your mouth. Because if you look at dental care perception is it's painful, it's not comfortable, it is scary. All these have negative perceptions. So when you're attempting to do something, I need to feel safe, I need to feel comfortable, I need to feel not intimidated. So all that becomes an important touch point of design. And I have been doing a lot of research. One of the challenges which I see in India is we do not pay so much of attention to experiential design. We are all attempting to do something which is good looking.
Correct.
And I think one has to see and integrate design in the workflow of that experience, start to finish. And so I was very clear that I will only work with people who understand this. So it is not, I want to re-emphasize in this podcast that design is just not product design. There is a whole part of design which is to deliver a unique experience.
It's true.
And that experience is an important part, which means every part of that has to be engineered to trigger off an emotion of trust.
True. You're right. You rightly said that, sir. It's not about how beautiful a product will look like. Its functionality, the user experience matters a lot. And that analogy, this is the thing that's been driving around for with every single person who is working out here. Sir, from here we will move towards
But I'll add one more thing here. Now, design is one part of the equation, okay? But the other big challenge is converting the design into manufacturability, and the most toughest part, to make it then affordable.
Correct.
See, you can design a fantastic product, but to make that, convert that into engineered product and making it affordable is the complexity of the entire exercise.
True. Best renders cannot be manufactured.
Correct.
So, Vivek, I remember when we started building this as 2 units, the top part is the festo unit, at the bottom is the place where we'll keep the compressor. You always believed in one thing, that when you saw the design coming out, you felt it will go quickly. It can happen, but we wanted to do more iterations. So the festo unit, like, what was there before, and what were the decisions that you took to make it smaller, compact, that fit in with the current trend?
Yeah. So, I'm at least my experience has been in this, if we are very clear what is the end goal, uh, then every product design goes through multiple iterations. You never get it right the first time. It's always, everything is a placeholder. And through multiple iterations, which are like, can you reduce the size? Can you change the layout? Can you shuffle these? Can you connect these two? These are questions that get asked as people start understanding. See, I was very clear on one thing. I don't expect the designers to understand engineering. I don't expect the engineers to understand design. Now, if you have to get them together to work, the only way is to break them into step-by-step process. So I believe that you start with the design, get the placeholders in place, then get the engineering people online. So as this iterative process continues, both of them are educated. The designer understands engineering, the engineering person understands design constraints. I'm saying because largely in India we do not focus on manufacturing. This is a problem which everybody will face when they're building products. Then after design engineering, taking it to manufacturing at large scale, has a completely different knowledge and skill set. And you don't find all that in one unit or one place in India. There are disparate groups of people. To get them all to work together, the only way to get it done is through iteration. Because let me also tell you, in terms of my experience, has been very often you find designers like to believe that this is the design that has to become reality.
True.
But the reality is when you start doing the engineering part of it, it cannot happen, because unless you make micro changes or major changes, the cost can go up by 5 to 10 times. So you have to balance between design, aesthetics, final output, manufacturing cost, all put together. So this can only be done when there is trust among people. Both or all the members feel respected and they understand the constraints that go into making it. So this is always an iterative process, and it has to start with something being the placeholder. I took the decision the placeholder will start from design. Because once you have the design framework in place, the engineering can work around it, and the final manufacturing can happen by making micro changes. So that's why, I wasn't so unduly worried about the size when we started off with, but I felt that in the process of iteration, everybody can see logically what's going to work and what logically will not work.
True. So in this kind of a product, it's generally we need to do prototypes and another prototype for iteration, and that's how it is done. But when it came to the bottom unit, you were very confident of taking it to manufacturing, right? Festo unit, we did a prototype.
Oh yeah. So
but the bottom unit, we were suggesting let's do a prototype and do further, but you took it to the next level. How were you so confident? Like, was it because of the way we completed the design for manufacturing? What actually made you to take that step? Now it's almost in the stage of final product, if I'm not wrong.
So it's also a question of taking certain intuitive judgments. When we sort of decouple the unit which is used by the doctor required high precision engineering. Now the high precision engineering had to be right, and that had to be iterated. So when I got the high precision engineering right, the other one is just a compressor unit. There's no high precision engineering in it. It's just a pressure air. So I didn't believe you need to iterate that beyond a certain point. It's like iterate the things that matter. The things that don't matter go by intuitive judgment or leap of faith.
So Vivek, before moving into user scenarios and field reality, I have one question. Uh, like all the products that come into market, over a period of time, it evolves and newer version comes. So what's your plan on the roadmap of this product? I know the first product is coming out soon, and then what next?
Okay, the way I see it is this product that we've done has, like any product journey, the final success of the product depends on somebody using it or somebody buying it, right? So typically what is done in any product iteration process is you have to get the product out in the market in the best form available at that point of time. You can never ever have the ideal full-fledged product. If you wait for the ideal product, you might miss the opportunity. So you will, at least that's the belief I work on, which is get the product out, take customer feedback, and keep iterating to improve. So in terms of the journey that you asked, what happens if you can make the same machine at less than 10 kgs, less than 5 kilograms? What happens if I can reduce the cost by 50%? So that's the journey we'll be attempting to do. But all that starts with at least one out in the market, tried, tested at scale before we start working on the next set of innovations.
Lovely. So let's move into the next section. It's about user scenarios and field reality. So of late, we are seeing doctors are rolling out dental clinics like cabin baggage. So what surprised you the most about this real world usage? How would you see that? Like for a doctor, as you also spoke about.
Oh yes. Okay. So to answer this question, the way I see, like I mentioned to you, right in the beginning, that 95% of the people do not have access to dental care, can afford or have access to dental care, right? So this machine that we are building right now can be used by multiple segments. When I'm saying multiple segments, one segment can be for families at home. The dentist can deliver dental care at home. But if you have to do something at population scale, there are following segments that I'm also working at. One, can we deliver dental care at companies at scale? Can we deliver dental care at government hospitals at scale? Can we partner with the government on these initiatives? Can we work with NGOs to do mass dental camps? I also have this vision where in a village, the doctor will be sitting on a two-wheeler with a machine on his lap, or driving his car and delivering dental care for the whole family in their house. So the option available to deliver dental care anytime, anywhere is the way I look at how this whole thing will unfold.
Right.
The logic being that if he has regular treatment and checkup, they will not need to experience the painful deterioration of the dental which happens over time.
Okay.
You also got to understand India, 95% of the people do not brush in the night. There's a huge pan eating habits, smoking habits among the population, and all this affects the teeth. But we believe through this awareness creating program that we're working on, we'll be able to address it. We're also working on something very interesting. We're building a product where the mother or the caregiver in the house can take a photograph of the child or the parent, upload the picture, and the app will tell you the health of the mouth or the dental problem. You don't have to go to a clinic to figure it out. So when the AI tells you the dental health of the child or the member of the family, they can then choose to invite the doctor home.
Okay.
So we're working both at one level creating awareness, at another level delivery, Now, for the whole thing to integrate and fall in place, all the members of the ecosystem have to be taken care of.
So this makes me to ask this question, sir. Have you ever thought of this unit being misused? For example, you go to a dental clinic, uh, you cannot set up a clinic unless and until you are a dentist, and you need a lot of money for that. So definitely the crooks will not do that. But when you are going to manufacture this product at mass scale, and that too at a affordable rate, so it's going to be sold to so many people. Have you ever thought about it? I'm just a question that came to my mind. Can it be misused? What if
No. So we
I'm
have
calling someone, he says, I'm coming to your home, he says he comes with this machine and he cleans, maybe he does the procedure of plucking the tooth also. Is it possible?
no. So we have factored all this. So there is a risk of malpractices followed in healthcare, but we have factored all this. So we are creating something called the Mobident Academy of Dental Excellence.
Okay.
So we are doing multiple level in terms of execution. When we are selling this machine, we're only selling to registered dentists or registered dental students. One. If he is using the Mobident brand name to deliver a service,
Okay.
we would rate, rank, test and train the doctors. It's like a pilot. You need to have X number of procedures before you can go home. So we will track them through a digital app.
Okay.
So we are certifying the doctors who can use the machine. And they're trained both in soft skills and using of the machine. So there is no way it can get misused.
Okay.
We're also having because we have the AI app which tells you the health of the mouth, there's no question of misuse. It's unlikely to happen.
So does it mean that you will not be selling it to any?
No, we're not
doctor?
selling it to the open market. It's only one-on-one with the doctors, and it's a registered. It's always a registered dentist.
Excellent, sir. That's very, very important.
Yeah, we're not going into the wholesale market. We're not looking at selling at as a machine. We're selling a relationship. Our engagement with the doctor is not about just selling the machine. It's about ensuring that the dentist is competent to deliver what we call as the Mobident experience. So it's not about just dental treatment. It's about the relationship that we have with the patients, relationship that the doctor has with the patient and with the machine that we have. So we are working at all levels to ensure that trust is built, because our vision is make dental care affordable and accessible at population scale. So we cannot risk not being careful in terms of our execution.
Excellent.
We have all checks and balance to ensure that happens.
Excellent, sir. So my next question in this user scenario is, what did the early user test teach you about ergonomics and workflow? This product.
When we designed the product and the experience, I think we realized that the first thing that we had to address was soft skills. Many colleges in India do not focus on soft skills.
True.
Students graduate with knowing how to use a machine, but not necessarily how to treat a patient. When a patient goes to a clinic, they're extremely vulnerable. Even how do you even hold their head and place them on the chair is a simple gesture of reassurance. How do you treat a child? How do you treat a lady patient? So we focus a lot on soft skills. The machine, is something which they anyway know how to use it. So we have got down to attention to those kind of details, because the equation changes, like I mentioned, right? The doctor is going to the patient's house, and it's a completely unfamiliar environment. In that environment, how do you ensure hygiene? How do you ensure sanitization? A lot of these details have been documented, and it's part of our training. So it's not about, so we're not looking at selling the machine, we're looking at delivering an experience, which is different.
Got it, sir. So let's go to the next segment now. I would like to hear from you about your honest feelings. There have been times when there were no feedback,
From
from our end, or things were moving a little slowly. So, uh, or the progress. What was actually happening? In those times, like were you thinking, did I give it came to a wrong place again, or okay, you thought, well, it's going to take that much time. This is an R&D project. So, what was all going on in your mind?
you know what I mean. At least my style of functioning has been this way. When I work with somebody, I make a leap of faith. I demonstrate trust right in the beginning. When I work with partners, I don't normally start with, after the briefing process is done, you would have seen, right? I make the payment upfront. My payments are always on time. Most people have conflicts on payments and schedule. So I try and ensure from my point of view that there is nothing from my side which prevents or causes unhappiness with the people that I work with. Very important to have trust. Second, any exploration or design project needs to work from a point of complete trust and faith. You can fail in the process because you're navigating the uncertainties, the variables that you cannot control. It's easy to blame for delay. It's easy to blame when things don't work. Because when you're attempting something which is bold and disruptive, it is bound to fail. 90% it has to fail. And there are all the reasons to blame somebody. But at least my experience has been is when you demonstrate trust, people will invariably take ownership. And the project is never about Mobident's project. It was co-creation, if you remember. That was the first thing we started off. You guys are expert in your field. I'm an expert in my field. Can we find a way to bring our expertise to make it a reality? I also think when a product gives people a sense of pride, they go beyond normal expectations. So there are doubts, but somebody has to hold that space when doubts creep in. I don't think fight resolves anything.
True.
It's a waste of money, it's a waste of emotion. Time is relative. I think the vision was to create a product which all of us are happy and proud of. So, some delay here, some cost escalation here, there. It's all part of the journey. So I didn't have any doubts about the team being able to deliver. Yes, I have been frustrated by constraints. And I understand why. It's because, see, most agencies work on time and cost. If time increases, the cost has to go up. Now, if cost is not going to be, if you're not going to pay extra, then it leads to something, in terms of something has to be traded off, right? Now, if it's logical, those things can be addressed.
So, you mentioned you're frustrated by the constraints. So, at any point in time, this frustration of yours, did it drive you to a stage where you thought, okay, that's it, I'm not going to go ahead with this?
No. So you mentioned right in the beginning, I've been chasing this for the last 10 years. So I've been through multiple frustrations. It's nothing to do with this. So I think each time it didn't work, gave me a learning. But I think what happens is every iterative process makes the next project easier. Now, it had to if you're willing to make this a reality in 20 years, you will get it right at some stage. I was not battling against time. I was not battling against cost. I was battling against making it a reality.
Got it, sir.
Yeah.
So let's move to the next segment now. This is about manufacturing and DFM. I have a couple of questions. So how did the DFM, design for manufacturing, change how you view the product design?
Oh, that was a whole different. That is a whole different journey. During the search to find shifting the product from design to manufacturing, there are many things that I learned. You have to make a mold. There are not many mold makers in India who can build medical devices. See, manufacturing a general product is fine, a medical device is completely different. The constraints on medical devices are significantly higher. So it's not easy to find a vendor who can do that for you. I think that's when I call it serendipity. When you work on a project which has a big vision, you begin to meet people through serendipity or coincidence who resonate with that idea and then are willing to take up that project because they are also emotionally invested.
So,
So when we found uh, this mold maker, there's a lot of, he is somebody who understands how to make a design to reality. And we had to get the engineering team, the design team, and the mold maker to start making changes at the final stages, because otherwise the project would stop if you stick with the design and not make the last minute changes. But again, the way I see it is, everybody is working on the common purpose of making the product a reality. Nobody wants it to fail because all of us are emotionally invested over a period of time. We also, like when the design team has put in their heart and soul behind the design, you want to see it a reality. If somebody says it can't become a reality for the following reasons and it's logical, then you again have to push your creativity to the level of making that a reality. Again, it's an iterative process. So I think I'll tell you my feeling on this is these are not constraints. These are normal journeys you should be willing to do if you choose the journey of product development. In a services model, it's very simple. You design, you give it. If it doesn't work, who cares? But when you start moving from design to manufacturing, I think the single most important virtue to have is perseverance. You should be willing to hang in long enough to make that a reality. And at that point of time, you will find people who will collaborate because they know that you're not willing to give up. And that energy comes, gets compounded by everybody's putting his or her emotional behind the vision of the product.
so I vividly remember the meeting that we had at your mold maker's place along with my mechanical engineer. We came over there, we discussed the CAD drawing, the mold split, part angles, thickness of the parts, the constraints, right? So at that point in time, I was thinking, is this all over today? Well, it didn't. There were so many questions. So probably now I can understand what it would have taught you with respect to holding on persistently, to make this as a real product.
So my understanding of this entire journey that I've had is, I think in India, it is important to have all the complementary skill sets under one roof. It's very difficult for the design team to hire engineers. It's a cost. It's difficult for a manufacturing guy to have designers. It adds to his cost. It's hard for the prototype guys to understand design, and so each one of them worked in silo. The prototype guy says, "You've given me the design, and I'll give you a prototype." He doesn't understand the challenges of manufacturing. So I think at some stage, as more and more people start working on the journey of product development, I see all of this integrating into a single window where people can just go across and get things done. But yes, design translating to reality, it's a long journey.
True.
Yeah,
True.
it is a journey, and I think both tend to gain. The design team will over time get educated on engineering and manufacturing, which will help them in the second project.
So, in the 7 or 8 years of your journey, what made this last 1.5 years with us different?
So I think it was different from multiple points of view. Like I mentioned to you, most designers I have worked with in the past claim they can do, um, but don't necessarily deliver. Um, I think there are very few product engineers and product designers in India. Many people who are designers like to claim the product designers. They are not necessarily product designers. The mindset is different. To be a product designer, you have to understand some part of engineering, some part of manufacturing. Product design is completely different from any other design. Um, so when I met Analogy and seen the work that you had done, something said that the gut feel was work with them. My doubt was you hadn't yet worked on medical devices. You have done a lot of other products. But again, at some stage, it's either the people that you work with, people that you interact with. The team from Analogy was passionate. The team from Analogy, I sense they had doubts, but I felt that um, they would be able to do it. But I think also another thing I'd like to emphasize here is, during this journey, right from the beginning, your founder VT spent a lot of time reassuring me. He comes from a very rich background of product design at a global scale. The fact that he was personally involved, sending me multiple messages and calls, made me believe if the founder is willing to stake his reputation and also believe in the project, the probability of it becoming a reality is high. What I also enjoyed was you didn't treat it like just another project. You treated it like something which mattered to you. And I think somewhere along the way, you felt that this product could be world class, could get recognition, could get awards, could be disruptive, and it would give all of you a sense of pride. So all that put together made me believe that you guys can pull it off.
Brilliant. Thanks for having that faith in us, Vivek. So tell us, which was the moment you felt your product is really going to come real?
Oh no, I don't think it's one moment. There are many moments, right from the first meeting to the multiple discussions we had. Many times it's like handing a glass ball. It could drop anytime and break. The fact that every time it broke, we were willing to pick it up and rebuild it again. So we didn't look at it as break. We looked at it as, is it a new path?
Okay.
So there are multiple moments, and it's like any creative process. It has its ups, it has its downs, but I think all of us are working towards the journey of making it a reality. So there are multiple points to celebrate. I think we'll all celebrate once it's launched, and there will be another challenge to make it a success, and we'll celebrate when we have 100 million people using the product.
So, sir, the last question in this section is of all the results that you have seen, the speed, cost, and functionality, which one actually shocked you the most?
Everything. You know what? We being Indians, right? Any price is expensive. And our initial reaction would be like, can I afford it? See, we are not a funded company. So for me, it was very important to have the cost within what I can afford and which also seems fair. There's no way to judge. How do you evaluate the cost part of it? Speed is relative. Nobody knows whether it's 1 month or 6 months or 1 year. It's relative. We tend to underestimate time, and we tend to overestimate cost at some level, right? So I think that's an answer which has multiple facets to it. In the larger scheme of things, these things don't matter. there's no point trying to save costs if the product is not becoming a reality. There's no point rushing if it's not going to become a reality. So it is a variable that you will have to wrestle with and hold it long enough for it to become a reality. Okay, so Malolan, let me flip. The conversations we've had. Uh, uh, the first time I met you and your team, and I briefed you the product, what made you believe that you would like to work on this project? Because I'm sure you would have a lot of founders approaching you to say, can you build this product for me, or can you redesign or design a product? What made you take up this project?
So I vividly remember that discussion we had in our previous office. You walked into our office. You were the first client who walked in after me coming into this company. We closed that order. You did not walk in with a product brief. I still tell you, you walked in with a specific mission. Right from your first dialogue, I remember you saying that I need something which has Italian design, German engineering, and then Indian ingenuity. That's how you started. The narrative was very clear. But we were trying to understand what you wanted to do. Probably the first 30-40 minutes, I remember me and my colleague, we were sitting, we were trying to grasp what you are saying. But then I remember that point when you said that I am doing it for a cause, that India produces 20 to 25,000 dentists every year, and what are they going to do tomorrow? And this product is going to be a revolution, and that's exactly what I am trying to do. And that made us, to take this to the level where you will manufacture it. So that's the point. I remember very clearly why we wanted to do this.
Okay, but didn't you have doubts because you had not built a medical device? And would you guys be able to pull it off?
Though we had doubts, we cannot show it to you at that point in time. So once you left, I remember we having brainstorming, and our founder was always there in those calls. We were very clear. We wanted to understand what we are going to do. Though it was a medical device, we always know that the enclosure is what we are going to do. Though we had to understand the engineering inside that. So we were very sure that we are going to pull it off. But we only were a little skeptical about your expectations, the timelines. So we wanted to be very, very clear. You spoke about, let's start the project, let's not write any contracts or anything. We are not used to that. We said we will put down all the contracts and everything. So that's how we started. But yeah, the first 2-3 months was very, very tough, to be honest, because your expectations and what we were doing were not getting aligned. And then we sat down, we understood what has to be delivered there. We knew that we need to pull more weight from our end to get this going. So that's when we actually did it.
Yeah. So I remember very clearly, because what happens is when any product designing happens, the design company normally looks at from a design point of view and not from an engineering point of view.
True.
And to get engineering and design to work together is because you're doing an engineered product. You're not doing, just a cosmetic touch up for a product. So I because I've been through that journey with other designers. I remember the challenge that we had. Yeah.
I would like to answer this question this way, sir. Post your doing this project, we became very clear that we in fact coined a term called product path. That we are not here to just do an enclosure and give it to anyone. We are going to be there in the entire journey, right from conceptualization to prototyping, and then make that prototype ready to become a product. That's what I'm saying is manufacturing readiness, and also help the founder to get it out to the market. So we understood that that's when we as a company are delivering what we are supposed to.
So you know what, you want to take a suggestion from me? It might make sense for you guys to hire a few engineers. Guys with engineering background who understand engineering, and guys who understand design to manufacturing. You will also you'll also require somebody who can work towards sourcing vendors.
Okay.
See, so here's my take, and I think I've shared this with you. I've also shared it with VT. If you want to be a large product design company, you will have to offer all the services.
Absolutely, sir.
You cannot stick with only one part, which is design. Because the beauty is, I think a lot of people in India are attempting to build products.
True.
They want a one-stop shop. They don't want just somebody giving a design which cannot be manufactured. That won't work. That's my theory. My theory is very simple. Whatever you have to build it in India. Don't go outside. You will have to create the ecosystem. I think it's easy to go outside. No, it will take you 5-10 years to do it. But trust me, in 10 years' time, you can do something which nobody can do. Sourcing anything from outside is a logistical nightmare. And today, in this global political situation, it requires a war, it requires just a switch to be closed, a ship not to be allowed, and you can be screwed. Don't even get into that.
What are the biggest misconceptions that founders have about hardware?
I think what is required in India is a change in mindset.
Okay.
We as a culture are happy to make the least effort to get the maximum return. And that can happen in services. So once more and more companies and founders attempt the journey of building products, we as a country, I think, will develop the culture of manufacturing. The ecosystem will develop. Once the ecosystem is developed, you will find more products coming out. So we are right now at a place where a lot of things are happening. AI is taken over, which still makes sense to use technology, but I think manufacturing is the way to go forward. If a country or a community has to grow, it is only through manufacturing.
Okay.
At scale, at global scale, not manufacturing to just sell a few products.
Got it. Got it. So, where do you think the founders waste most of their time? I mean, the founders wasting most of their times in the early stages of investment.
So I'm not.
Probably, if you have felt so when you actually did these investments when you started off.
So I normally don't comment about other founders, but all I can say is, if the younger generation wants to take something which I can share by virtue of my experience, I think the founders should start with identifying a very large problem
Okay.
and solving the problem. What I've seen is, we look at ideas that have succeeded abroad and then try to customize it and tailor for India, which according to me is not the smartest way to do, because that is reverse engineering. But India is a very large country. It has a lot of very fundamental problems that has to be addressed. And it has to come from India first. And you take India first and take it global. You cannot take an international, because if you're looking at taking an international idea and adapting it to India, then according to me, that is not entrepreneurship. That is just a smart way to raise money. But if you're wanting to be an entrepreneur, what I'm sharing with you can be controversial, but I'm only sharing with you based on my experience.
Okay.
If India needs to progress, India needs to start with solving problems that are relevant for India and the world is willing to adopt. Almost 70% of the world population are in developing countries. So you solve problems for India, you can solve problems for Asia, Africa, South America, and they can be at global scale. So we have to, as a culture, look at addressing problems through first principles and not through what has succeeded already in the global market. This is my belief.
Okay.
I only hope it gets validated.
Alright. So, what's that one mistake you would want other founders to avoid when they start off?
The way I see it is, most founders build companies with the idea of seeking investment. They seem to chase funding.
Okay.
and everything is designed for funding. My theory is this: you identify a problem and you find solutions, the funding or the money will find you. Because products, ideas that are genuinely solving big problems will find investors wanting to invest. So spend a lot of time identifying the problem, find a lot of time building the solution. And my theory is this: only take money if you're 200% sure that the product will succeed. Because
Okay.
you, as a founder, also have the obligation and duty to protect the investor's money. You don't take money just to try out an idea or just to try out an experiment. You raise money only if, because you need to have the frugal mindset, the ability to build without money. If you can build without money, when I'm talking money, I'm saying if an idea cannot succeed with 1 crore or 5 crores, my theory is it will not succeed even after 100 crores. The mindset should be frugal innovation, test it, and raise money only for scaling. But many founders are raising money just on an idea or an
Okay.
experiment, which I think is fundamentally wrong because it's a disservice to the entrepreneurial community. Then the venture capital people or the investors will think all founders are only attempting to raise money which has a 90% probability of failure. Then we should make it like 90% probability of success. Then everybody will have the courage to invest. So we need to make that shift. I would rather build a 10 crore business pat positive than build a 1,000 crore business which is pat negative.
Totally understandable. Got it.
Now, some people might say this is old fashioned, but you know what? Bottom line matters.
True. So we are coming to the closing section now. I have just a couple of questions for you. The first question is, how do you describe the analogy difference based on this relationship for the last 1.5 years?
Different from what?
What did we bring to you? What excites you? Because you're going to see the final product very soon.
Oh, so you added value from an important part of the brief, which was the Italian design. So I had finished my engineering part of this product almost a year and a half, 2 years back.
Okay.
And I didn't want to take it to the market because I was not happy with the design that was done and shared with me earlier. So you fitted that part of the jigsaw puzzle, which was important to take it to the global market. So if analogy had not helped me with this, it would have delayed the project till I find another design company, product design company, which would build it for me. So I would have kept chasing it for the next 10 years. So maybe you saved 10 years of my time.
Fantastic to hear that, sir. So, how do you see the dental care access in India changing in the next decade?
I think, personally in this journey, when people ask me, how did I spend 10 years behind an idea, chasing an idea? I think I had this one vision saying, how do you build a product that can transform healthcare? So this is, if this becomes a reality and if this becomes a success, it is my first step towards building multiple healthcare products, addressing different healthcare solutions, because we are having a community which is in India currently, a significant part of the population is going to live up to 90 or 100 years old. So there is a senior citizen care that is going to be very important, and that healthcare has to be delivered at home. So I am sort of betting big on this idea, and I believe it will succeed. If it succeeds, it's going to be the first step towards building more such healthcare products. And hopefully I'll come back to you for designing more of them.
We look forward to that, Vivek. Vivek, thank you so much. It's been incredible having you here. Thank you for being so open about the failures, the complexity, and the sheer persistence behind this idea. Most people only see the finished product, am I right? They don't see the years of toil years of trial, the dead ends, the engineering rethinks, the arguments that we have with our vendors, the late night doubts, the moments when you have to tear down something and build again from the scratch. So many things goes on before the final products come out in reality, right? So what you shared today will help a lot of founders understand that building hardware is not just an ambition, right? It's conviction, it's patience. You must have a lot of clarity, and most importantly, you must choose the right partners that you need to work with.
To everyone listening, if you're building a physical product, a medtech system, or anything in the real world, I hope today's conversation gave you a behind the scene. Look at what it actually takes. We share more breakdowns, engineering insights, and founder lessons across our newsletters and LinkedIn. All the links are in the notes. And if you're sitting on an idea that feels messy, complex, or impossible, reach out. Even if you are not ready to build it yet, we can help you get clarity on that. The risk, the reality, and the path forward. See you in the next episode.